Welcome to the second episode of Baffling Cyclops. I'm David.
Hi, I'm Pepper.
And we're here to have a conversation about Halloween, is where I wanted to start.
Yeah, okay.
Because I read that the CDC issued guidelines for Halloween in pandemic times. And my favorite line from it was, if screaming will likely occur, greater distancing is required.
Isn't that always the case, even when it's not pandemic times?
I think so. But I thought it was really interesting that they stacked your activities by how dangerous they were.
Yeah.
And I know, and the first rung was just like carving a pumpkin by yourself in an isolation chamber. And then it ended with like a large Halloween party where everyone was drinking.
What about bobbing for apples?
Unless it's in sanitizer, I think it's out. If you have a giant vat of sanitizer, everybody can bob for apples.
A giant vat of Purell, or maybe just pure vodka?
Pure vodka would work too. And but I saw there was a guy in Cincinnati that actually invented a way to give candy away to kids, which is he saved all his Amazon shipping tubes.
Yeah.
And he put them on the railing of his porch, which had a steep railing, and you're supposed to put the candy in one, and then it rolls down into the kid's bag.
He made a luge, a candy luge.
Candy luge. His name was Andrew Beatty. And
is he the one that decorated it like it was like a skeleton or a ghost or something like that?
He did put lights on it after someone suggested it on his Facebook page, because at first it was just an orange tube.
Yeah. Orange is Halloween, though.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. Yeah, he's excited, and his daughter was super excited too, that they came up with this method to continue Halloween. But then I thought, because it got mentioned in all the candy industry stuff, this is how Halloween's going to happen this year, because they're so worried they're not going to sell candy. Because
right, I was wondering about that.
What do we usually do?
Well, we are the house known for full-size candy bars, right?
Yeah.
And not only does the child get... Well, we had some grabbers. We've had grabbers in the past where they just, like, come in, like, and grab as much as they can. And then, you know what I say to those children?
What?
I say, good on you, honey. You deserve you deserve those full-size candy bars, because if you have no manners and you're that hungry for full-size, then I'm going to just let you have it.
We should also say, you usually we get full-size candy in the big bulk box, and then you arrange it really neatly on a giant platter.
It's not just a giant platter. It's like a super fancy... It was pretty expensive, and it has maybe like a mercury glass mirror kind of thing going on with it. It's pretty cool. I use that for Thanksgiving too.
Yeah, and then you would put on the eagle talons that I brought home from work, right?
Yeah, because I like to have a little unexpected treasure, and also be able to bat the kids' hands away if they get a little too greedy.
Do you not? Well, I mean, you don't discourage greediness.
I don't. You know, it's Halloween. More power to you.
But we didn't get full-size candy this year.
We haven't gotten any yet. I don't know. I saw that shoot.
Yeah.
From that guy in Cincinnati, and we do have a big balcony porch.
We could also just take string and dangle them down.
Oh, yeah.
Off the front porch of our house, off the front balcony.
Yeah, I'm afraid if we just put a thing, a basket out, one adult person might come back to the house
and
take them.
The CDC said if you make a treat bag, you need to wash your hands for 20 seconds before and after you make the bag.
Like a treat? What's that?
Like if you were going to make a bag of treats to give kids,
Yeah.
instead of sending them out trick-or-treating, you need to wash your hands before you put all the stuff in all the treat bags.
Well, duh.
And then
You
wash
sh-
them afterwards,
You
too.
should do that anyway.
See? You were pandemic ready.
Yeah, I was prepared.
So also, because it's Halloween, I was thinking about werewolves.
What were you thinking about them?
Well, I was thinking if I was a werewolf.
That's funny. I've thought of that too.
Really? Then you're going to like this. So I have vitiligo. So I have parts of my skin that have no coloring at all. They're completely white. And if hair grows in those spots, it is also completely white. So I was thinking that if I was a werewolf, I would have shocks of white hair mixed in with the brown hair.
Especially on your paws.
I know, and I would be a piebald werewolf.
That would be cool.
I know. But then I started thinking about the whole werewolf thing after I thought of the practicalities of it. And then I thought, well, when people change back from being a werewolf into being human, why do they still have their same haircut?
Well, not only that, why do they still have pants on?
Well,
Like, I would think they bust out of those pants and then they turn back to human and then they have their bits dangling and that's,
in the
I don't know.
in the old in the old movies, they would wear pants with a rope belt, no matter
Yeah.
what they were wearing beforehand.
Yeah.
They would always all of a sudden have a rope belt, no shirt, but they would still have pants on, which to stop the dangle. But
So what would you, like, so when you would change back?
that's what I'm asking you. Is like if your hairline changes, like all of a sudden your face has hair all over
Yeah.
it. And then you change back from a werewolf into a human, what happens to that hair?
Maybe you have like a sudden onset case of telogen effluvium or I don't know, where it just all falls out in a pile. And then you take that pile of hair and you use it when you're firing your pottery, your Japanese style pottery.
You're obsessed with that pottery show.
I am.
You could also
But can I just
donate
say-
it for wigs.
Well, it's not long enough. You have to, I think it has to be 12 inches or longer to be able to donate. Do you know that when you donate your hair, like if you grow your hair out long to donate it to a worthy cause, like you think that your actual hair is being made into wigs for patients that are surviving cancer.
Right.
Many organizations, I don't know, I won't say Locks for Love because I don't know if Locks for Love does this or not, but many organizations are able to make more money if they sell the hair for wigs for like pop stars and just people who want human hair wigs. And then they take those funds and use them to help fund research like cancer research, etc. Isn't that surprising?
Yeah. Wigs for pop stars are more profitable than helping people with cancer.
Well, it does. In the end, it helps people
sure.
who are, who are recovering and fighting that battle. It's just, I think it was just to simplify it, because if you had to explain to somebody who's like carrying around 3 feet of hair in their back, which, that's a job to carry that much hair on your head. Then you have to spend 20 minutes explaining, well, we're not actually going to use your hair for a patient. Your hair is going to be sold to a third-party company, and then that company is going to transform that into a wig for like Beyonce or Taylor Swift. Well, I don't think Taylor Swift wears wigs. Or Dolly Parton.
Katy Perry.
Katy Perry. I was thinking about her like yesterday. It's weird.
Oh.
Yeah. I was thinking about the kid who was on SNL with her that did the little arm movements.
The wave dance.
Yeah.
So the piebaldness made me think about how we have crows that also have white parts. They grow the white feathers from stress.
I know.
and loud
Our
noise.
babies.
So
Our
if
babies.
they grow up around industrial spaces, or if they grow up, if they're nervous all the time, they will grow white streaks, sometimes in patterns on their feathers, so their wings can have like little stripes on them.
I know, they're so beautiful too.
And we have one crow we call Whitey Bulger.
Yeah, but that's only just between us.
Why?
Well, because well, at first, okay, so the crows and how I feel about them. Originally, I was very terrified. I was very terrified
You
of
did
all
not.
birds.
Yeah,
I wasn't a bird fan.
I would call you anti-bird.
Um.
I would say you were
Okay. Okay.
against birds. Like I would say if you
I didn't want harm to come to them.
if
though.
you knew someone had a bird as a
Oh,
pet,
yeah. I still kind of feel that way.
yeah, you would not want to be around it. You would be terrified.
No, except one of the Real Housewives in Potomac, she's got a bird, and I'm pretty fascinated by that one.
A bird as attention-getting device.
Yeah.
But
So Bulger, okay, so
but we don't want to call him Whitey Bulger because we don't want to scream Whitey every time we see him.
exactly, that's why.
But you started liking the crows only because last year when it snowed.
Oh my gosh, that day was a magical day. That was
Yeah.
great because it never snows. Well, it rarely snows where we live.
Yeah, and it was deep. My work got canceled.
Yeah.
And I was.
That's when we enjoyed having to work from home and work being canceled.
Work got canceled. So you and I went for a walk, and we stopped at Macarena Bakery and got you a cookie.
We did. We went for a snow walk, and we normally walk a lot anyway, but most places, every place was closed. But when we went on our snow walk, Macarena was still open.
Yeah.
And not only did I get one cookie, I got a bag of cookies.
Yeah.
Like they sell them in a little 6-pack sleeve.
Right.
Oh my gosh. You guys, those cookies are so flippin' good. They use real butter.
What kind of cookies were they? Were they
chocolate chip?
Yeah, chocolate chip. So we were trudging in the snow, and you were eating a chocolate chip cookie.
And that baby. Okay, so
there was a crow in a tree.
Yeah, so there were the crow in the tree, who we have since named Cookie. So we were walking in the snow, laughing and having a great time, and I was so happy because I was eating cookies, and it was just a great day. You were home from work, and that little crow, she looked at me, and I swear to God, she said, through crow senses, I think our mail got delivered. She said, "Can I have a bite?" What do you do?
Yeah, and we were both like, maybe that crow wants some cookie. And it's like, how do we give the crow cookie?
All I could think of was the little match girl, starving in the snow, and I couldn't. We weren't having any of that.
And so you broke off a piece of your chocolate chip cookie.
And I looked at her and I said, "Would you like some cookie?" And then she said yes. She
psychically.
Psychically. And I think she shook her head. I'm just going to say she shook her head. And I put it down gently because I didn't want to throw it because that seemed disrespectful. And it's a really good cookie. And
they use real butter. I've heard.
God, those cookies, man! If you guys are ever in Seattle, I don't know if the cookies aren't the best thing from Macarena, but the hazelnut pinwheel is. But you should definitely check it out. It's a great little bakery. But anyway, so I gently set the little chunk of cookie down in the tender, tender snow. And she said, "Thank you."
As soon as we took 2 steps away,
I know.
Cookie flew down and ate the cookie. And we then...
I started carrying around a little bitty sandwich bag with popcorn because I have some, it's called Smart Pop or Skinny Pop or Smart Pop or something like that. And it doesn't have as much salt in it. So I was carrying around a bag of popcorn and something else.
Yeah, I can't remember what else it was, but we Googled it
Yeah.
and found out that they like unsalted roasted peanuts in the shell,
Yes.
which Costco sells by the bushel. Yeah, you can buy giant bag. Well, they're not that big. I guess it's 5 pounds. But
It's 5 pounds a bag, and I think they're like $6.89 a bag or something like that. Which the first time we bought 5 pounds of peanuts for the crows, we bought them on Amazon, and they were like $15.
Right.
So we were a little bit more stingy when we passed them out. But I swear, over the last year, we have probably spent. How much do you think we've spent on peanuts?
Probably $250.
At least.
I think we've spent that much. But do you remember the one day, it was last December, when we saw a crow funeral?
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
It was so sad because when we first started feeding the crows, they would only come up in smaller groups. We would only feed one or two at a time.
Yeah.
And especially during the summer, it's rare that you would get more than a family of crows. So most like 4.
Yeah.
And but as you go into the fall, they start to get together in larger groups.
What are the groups called?
Colloquially, a murder.
Okay.
Or a flock.
Okay.
But murders. So they join together into groups. And so once
Do you
we
remember that day in February? You carried an entire 5-pound bag of peanuts.
Yes.
And did you come home with any?
No. Well, that was the day. That was the day because at a certain point in the year, and there was a whole flock of crows that was just following us around.
Yeah.
And
It was magical.
I got addicted to it because we started dropping the peanuts behind us
Right.
in a trail. And the crows would fly down and then fly up. So as you're walking along, if anyone's walking towards you, it just looks like you have this crowd of crows in front of you. In like you're some kind of crow magician.
Which I think we are, because they watch out for us.
Yes, with a crow familiar.
Yeah, they know us. Like if they see us, they'll just say, "Could I have a peanut? May I have a peanut, please?"
But I'm sure people think we're insane. But
Oh, of course. And they probably talk about us secretly on Nextdoor, and we just don't.
yeah, we
read
haven't
about
seen it yet.
Yeah.
But
That funeral, though, man, wow.
and that was down by the church, which is where
Yeah.
I would say our main group of crows.
Yeah, good percentage of them.
That's where our group of crows
Yeah.
is. Because we have our family of crows that lives in front of our house that gets like a handful a day.
Yeah, at least a handful. Yeah.
And then, but once you get down towards the church, once you drop one peanut, the caw goes out and they just start showing up. For instance, today we probably had 40 crows
about 40.
in that one
Yeah.
spot when we went for our
Because they're
walk.
coming back. Like this summer, they weren't as many, and I was a little worried that something was going on with the crows, but I think it was just that they were making their little eggs and the fledglings were being born and they had other things to tend to.
And that day, though, it was so weird because we went up and there were tons of crows there, but
They were in such distress.
no one made that alert caw. We put peanuts down and no one moved,
No.
and we kept walking, and then they were making like horrible
It was
noise.
horrible.
And then as we were walking, we saw a dead crow on the sidewalk.
Oh, it's a little, yes.
And
it was a beautiful, beautiful crow, too.
It was, and we were like, what should we do? Because the crows were obviously upset.
Well, they were obviously upset, and we had no idea what to do. And in my family, when somebody's upset, you just feed them. So I'm throwing peanuts down because I'm like, well, maybe they're hungry. But I was worried that they would think that we had harmed their brethren.
And while we're standing there trying to figure out what to do, more crows are
It
coming.
was amazing.
I'm no exaggeration. There were, I would say, at least 300 or 400 crows
there were a lot of
around
crows.
us. And
their cries of distress, they were just so sad.
they were so sad. And we stood there, and as we stood there, a woman came out with a grocery bag,
Yeah, plastic
grocery bag on her hand, and she said, they just get so upset seeing it, I'm going to put it in the recycling bin.
Yeah. Maybe that was the wrong bin to put it in, I have to say, in hindsight. But she said that the crow corpse or body had been there for a while. And that murder of crows, they were just so bad. And I was so happy because you and I were able to, we walked 20 to 25 feet away because we didn't want any of our babies to think we had anything to do with it.
Well, right, and also we were unsure.
Yeah, we didn't know what to do.
If they would be appreciative if we took care of it and were got rid of it, if it was appreciative or bad. She walked up to him, she picked up the crow and she put it in the recycling bin, and we walked away fast because we were like, we don't want to be a part of this. And we got down and we were going to go on a longer walk, and we were like,
it was very upsetting.
We were like, we actually thought maybe we had severed our relationship with the crows, and they weren't going to want anything from us anymore because we knew crows remember faces.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons they all gather when they see us walking, is because they recognize, they see my giant lumbering shape, and they're like, it's the peanut.
Well, they say, it's the peanut lady and the king of the blues.
Yeah. And so we walked down to the corner, and we couldn't really see where the crows were anymore because there were trees. But we heard a noise, and we looked up, and in the distance, from another direction, we saw...
It was crazy.
It was like...
the sky was almost black.
It was like smoke from a factory, rising up into this incredible plume of crows. And we just watched it fly in the sky. And we were just, it was awe-inspiring.
Yeah.
Because we were just like, oh my God, what did we just see?
I think that crow must have been super special to that murder.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
It was,
and his little body, or it was a big body. His big body was there, just out.
Yeah,
it wasn't like hidden or tucked away, or
And so then, we walked back through, and it was no crows at all.
Yeah,
it was quiet. We never walk through there where there's zero birds or crows,
unless
or anything.
It's it really late at night.
But after all the crows were there, everything left.
Yeah.
No, there was no cat.
Yeah, nothing.
No cat, no people, no nothing. It was, and it was just so quiet. And all the way home, we were like, "Oh my God!" And because there were no crows all the way home, and it's like a half a mile. And when we talk about it,
we'll walk 4 to 5 miles round trip, and we had a good half mile left.
So as soon as we got home, I started Googling. What did we just see?
What were the main facts and takeaway from your Google?
Well, I discovered the work of Kaylee Swift, who is Corvid Research on Twitter, and she did all of this research on crow funerals. And
so it's a real thing.
It's a real thing. So she's a researcher at the University of Washington, and she did actual research on crow funerals.
Okay.
So they would carry around a taxidermied crow.
Where did they get that?
I don't know.
I bet it's somewhere in England.
Probably.
I think that's where the land of taxidermy.
I won't tell you. I won't go into the other experiment she did with the taxidermied crow or stuffed crow. No. Because it's dirty.
Oh, I don't think I want. I don't want to hear about that.
But
it's not like a plushie. It's not like a children's toy from the toy store you used to work at.
No, but but they had figured out that if anyone saw a human carrying a crow, any crow saw a human carrying a crow, they would hate that human for time on it. They would teach other crows to hate you. So what they did is they put on rubber masks that were like featureless faces so that they could do these experiments.
What?
Yeah.
That sounds so creepy.
Oh,
Jason masks?
Yeah, I'll put a picture of them in the newsletter.
Oh my gosh.
So they would put on these masks.
Okay.
And they would
That's so creepy. Oh my gosh, David, seriously?
I just held up a picture of it so she could see it.
What's with the turtleneck too?
Yeah, well, they didn't want any of their skin to show, so they and they changed their shape. So they would carry the bird.
Those look like masks from Hannibal.
They do look a little bit. Yes, they look like skinned people. So
Wow.
then when I figured this out, I was like, they might hate us forever because we were there when this happened. They might connect us with that, and so we were nervous. And so the next day when we went out for our walk, we were like, are they going to like us? What's going to go on?
I remember being
And we walked
worried.
down, and if they took a few peanuts.
Yeah.
And like as we were coming home, there were a few more crows. But then after we got home, I put some in our driveway, just a handful in our driveway, and then we got upstairs and we looked outside, and there were probably 200 crows.
It was awesome.
Outside our house.
Just talking about it kind of makes me feel teary-eyed because they were so beautiful.
They were on at the phone wires. They were in the trees. They were in the driveway. There were so many crows, and they came, and I went outside and fed them, and they were all so happy. And we felt like that was when we felt like, we were part of the mourning process. We weren't really we weren't,
because they weren't mad. They weren't mad at us when they came home. When they were sad and that the body was there, that was a very different sound. When they were flocked around our house and out front, it was just like, it was amazing. It was like they felt like we were part of their family.
Yeah, and it was so much that the neighbors were all coming out of their houses.
Yeah. People
and
stopped their car. They were driving the car driving down the street stopped.
Yeah, they had to stop because there were just so many crows. And that was when we kind of formed a connection with them because it felt like we were part of whatever was going on.
Yeah, for sure.
The crows have been such a good thing for us during the pandemic too, because they're just kind of this consistent partner outside that we can have some social interaction with without any worry.
Yeah.
And crows are very emotionally intelligent too.
Yeah.
So they form a relationship with you, and they all have different personalities, and we've probably gone a little crazy during the pandemic.
I think I know we have. Well, I think we're very odd anyway. So then, what I learned from the crow experience and Cookie first, and we every time we walk down that area, Cookie's block, regardless of what crow it is, we always call her Cookie.
Yeah.
Because it is a little difficult to identify them. The only one I can really identify is Bulger, and then the other one that used to be out front with the big bubbles. But it is something that, even though it seems like we're oddballs, I just learned to face my fears with that connection with Cookie to begin with, because by facing my fear of birds in general, I've been able to get so much enjoyment and love and just feel good about being a part of the crow family.
Yeah, and we have thousands of pets
that we don't have to take to the vet.
Right. There's like a whole other world of crow people on the internet. There's a Reddit crow discussion board.
Is that where you learned that they like the peanuts?
Yes.
There was another protein they liked. I can't remember what.
Well, they like cat food and dog food too.
Yeah.
And but we don't need.
We're not going to do that.
No.
And I think raccoons like that too.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
I haven't faced that fear yet. Let me tell you.
So, the other guy on Twitter that we really like is Tef_ebooks.
Oh gosh, his photography is amazing.
Crow photographer. It's amazing photography. And
I used one of his photos as inspiration for my drawing of that little bitty fledgling.
yeah.
I love his photo of the crow. It's a very up close photo, and it's his self portrait.
Yeah.
He's got 2 self portraits I love. One is his image in the eyeball of the crow, and the other one is. It's like a selfie with a bunch of crows flying behind him.
Right.
In action.
And his favorite crow has one eye. Aww. And so he figured out it had one eye. It took him a long time because obviously when a crow doesn't trust you and it has one eye, it always faces you with the side of its body that has the eye. So he had to earn its trust before it showed the side.
Did he name him Patch?
He doesn't name the crows. But anyway,
okay.
Tef_ebooks is a great crow photographer, my favorite crow photographer. And Corvid Research, Kaylee, like she's great too.
Yeah. Will you post those crazy Jason mask?
Yes, with links to the research too.
Well, you brought home a crow, like a crow mask for my head to fit over my entire head. The crows didn't seem to. They paid no never mind to that.
They just like the peanuts.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
Okay. Happy Halloween.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast. And to read our show notes, sign up for our newsletter at bafflingcyclops.com.